Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's nice to move that. So you got multiple cameras.
Yeah, it's usually this one here is over there to sort of show the musician, well, the piano primarily.
I don't see the camera. Oh, this camera here shows the camera.
Yeah, and then there's one up there, and then one on the wall. And sometimes well, for like services and stuff like that one up there is programmable, so we can actually, hit a button based thing and go to a place, watch videos.
Oh, yes. Gotcha. So it's like a pan.
It's pretty good, yeah. It's a
I do this too, send this to amateur, and I just use a Nikon camera with a bunch of different lenses. Actually, have a gimbal, and I do really good. It's just this damn phone.
Right, the phones are crazy.
It's 4K.
Yeah.
But for the real true, I use a Rode audio video mic on my Nikon camera, and with my 7200 lens, I can really do a good job. I've got it. It took a while to get there. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I used to do IT work up until not that long ago. I retired last fall.
I retired too. I supported
sound setups, and I've done a lot of design for classrooms, and stuff.
I did too, but I was drawing it.
Yeah, this side of things, not as much. Where I worked, there were people who were that sort of thing. They were musicians. They knew how it was set up.
They're like OCD.
Don't mess with my stuff.
Yeah.
So
I got so many incredible musician friends just like that. One of my favorite, my best friends, guy got so bad. He's never heard Jimi Hendrix impersonator in the world. And he's played with Steppenwolf, Red Lady, and Mark. We have so much fun.
Nice to have your
Wife is really good. And he's been playing for 53 years. And he can just play anything. He's just, start playing this.
that'll do it.
And he's like that too, nobody touches anything, he runs everything. He's too picky.
I think there's a reason for that. It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to control this to make it sound.
Yeah, and when you're in a live thing, you don't get a second chance. Yeah, but it is funny how good the phones are getting. I had a great time. Just use a Note 10 Samsung. I do.
Right.
I'd like to put an iPhone eventually. I did Android all my life, so I'll still have this and just use the iPhone for video.
And I'm pretty solid on Android. I'm not even Apple. That's where I am.
And the VM, all the apps and all that kind of stuff. I just don't think it's
This right here is a new Pixel.
nothing good about those. Oh, they're incredible. The picture, the software.
Yeah, the cameras are cool. I play around with the taking a picture. About that. So, let's say I want to edit that. Magically erase stuff.
Never be ashamed of your
Right there.
Doesn't do it well.
I think they just erased half the micro.
Yeah.
So that this Google bullshit, I know they did some bullshit. We don't have those options.
Well, this is the Android.
Google has something.
It's a tensor chip.
I mean, that's
a special chip.
Oh, and that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what, they're coming along, they're gonna, I got friends that say they're gonna take over everything eventually, camera related. It's just that people are so hung up on it. It's so expensive.
That's the thing, I mean, this phone, my wife and I are getting rid of that. And it's a phone service. The phone's free. So this price, like $500 and some dollars. And if we keep our Google File,
Good afternoon, everybody. We are running a little bit late, so no pressure.
not that much. Hi. Yeah, that'd be good. To appear in the slideshow? Sure, that'd be fine. But maybe not the talking video. There's a 5-minute. I don't know, Jack said you received a 5-minute video. Maybe 5 minutes, but anyway, Jack received a video. So I would say yes to the slideshow. On the slideshow. Okay. Yeah, I would just ask Jack about that if he integrated the talking into it, because I just wouldn't want that to start talking. Okay, well, there's sound to the slideshow. Oh, got it, got it. Well, I think we're going to start soon. So maybe if there's audio, maybe because we're going to start talking.
Good afternoon again. We're getting started in just a few minutes. JB's just arriving.
You made it? I don't know. Can't say. Right there. Right there.
Okay, I'd say let's begin. We are here in remembrance of Patrick Haggerty, and we're going to have some people come up and speak. We're going to keep it limited so we can keep it moving. And I would like to have Robin, his daughter, come up and speak first.
Short person. Hi, everybody. How's the sound? Is it okay? Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to join us today to say goodbye to Patrick and celebrate his life. I'm Robin, Patrick's daughter. I'm getting the message that I need to crank it up a little bit. And we really appreciate you coming to celebrate him with us. I've been thinking about what to say to y'all. I've been thinking about it quite a bit, about what to say. And the first thing I want to say is that through the process of grieving his loss and saying goodbye to him, we all realized how many things he was to how many people. He meant a lot to people in a lot of different ways. And I was thinking that we all lost who he was to us. So I lost my dad. JB lost his husband. His sisters and his nieces and nephews are here. His grandson is here. So we all, and then old friends and bandmates and musical collaborators. So you all had your own unique relationship with him. My relationship with him was as my dad. And so I wanted to just tell you a little bit about what that was like to have Patrick as my dad. I have been asked what that was like. And my answer then and now is that in all the really important ways, he was a really great dad. We always knew that he loved us. I don't remember ever questioning that. And he was always there for us. If we needed to talk or if we needed something, he was present as a parent. So I kind of think those are the basic foundations that we need to develop a good relationship with our parents and feel supported. But also as a parent, he taught us to be questioning. He had a very curious mind and a questioning mind, and he wanted us to develop that skill, to ask a lot of questions. And he wanted us to have challenging conversations where we didn't always agree, but we were able to develop critical thinking skills through that. And when we were young, he told us that we could ask him any question, and he would tell us the true answer. Because if we were old enough to think of the question, then we were old enough to know the answer. And I think that just set up a basis of like an intellectual trust where we could have open, honest conversations with him about anything. And it was okay if we didn't agree or if we weren't coming from the same place. And I was thinking about the fact that I never felt that my contribution or my opinion was any less valid because I was the child and he was the parent. He always valued our input and valued our opinion and what we thought. And I really appreciated that. And I think that set us up for being able to have questioning minds ourselves and to be critical thinkers ourselves. So that's one of the things I really appreciate about him as a parent. I think that because Patrick lost his own dad young, he really valued the time that he had with us in a way that maybe we didn't because we hadn't had that loss. We didn't understand that loss. So now we value that time in the same way that he did with us when he was here. And the summer before he passed, we visited his dad's grave. And I wanted to know where to find it in the future, and we cleaned his grave up a little bit. And then we all headed back to the car to leave. And I looked back, and Patrick was still at the grave. And I heard him say, "Bye, Dad, I'll see you soon." And that's kind of just stuck in my mind as an image and a moment. I think I was the only person that heard that and saw that. But it was true. A couple months later, he was gone. And he really strongly believed that he was going to go be with his family. And I talked to him about that in the hospital. He had told me that already, but I wanted to just tell him that it was okay for him to go, because that was his choice. He wanted to be done. And I said, "You're going to go be with your family, right?" And he looked at me very directly and nodded very clearly, yes. So he didn't have any fear about the end of his life, and we were able to help him make the choice to be able to leave on his own terms. So while we miss him here, he cut a wide swath and had a really big life and impacted everybody that's here. So I just really appreciate you coming to celebrate him with us and celebrate the contribution that he made and the impact that he made. And that is all that I have to say. So I know who's next.
My name is Emil Carnavaro, and I'm Patrick's son. And I'm very, very thankful and lucky to have a parent like Patrick. You know, you realize, I'd always thought Patrick had a big life. But when I see all these people that I don't know, you realize how big his life was. And it's impressive. Somebody had recently said, a social critic, the only way to be transgressive in today's world is to have an opinion, and be difficult, or have an ideology. And Patrick had all three. He was difficult, he always had an opinion, and he always had an ideology. And that's one of the gifts that he gave to me, which has never been easy, but I'm incredibly thankful for all of that. Patrick is the definition of the type of person that almost no longer exists today, for all of those reasons. And it's so unique. And his absence is big. It's very big to me. And when I see all the young people that connected to him through music, these things become normal, or the ways of your parents become normal to you. You know that they're special, but when I see these young people that have found him through Lavender Country, it's really, really impressive. There's when people pass, your family, you think about all the time that you would like to have with them. You know, you can't change that stuff. This is just how it goes. But I had a really hard summer, and there was very few people I could speak to, and it was something only Patrick would understand. And you know, I'm so blessed to have been able to have that conversation with him before he passed. I don't know what I would have done. So I thought about that when he passed away, that I was so lucky to have had that conversation with him. And even though I was so naive when he was in the hospital, I really felt he was going to recover, and soon we would be on vacation for the holidays, which made the holidays pretty tough, you know. But that last conversation where he set me straight just like a parent would do, it was like he gave me a reason to let things go and help me understand what I had been going through, because I knew that he had went through the exact same thing in the early 90s. So it was very particular. And these are those moments that you really cherish with your folks, even though we didn't get to spend the holidays together. But it's these people are a blessing, and all of you are lucky to have known him as well. And I hope that you take that home with you and you share it with more people, because he was special. Thank you for coming. And we're going to have some more people come up and speak, so thank you very much. Can I have Doug Barnes come speak, please?
I met Patrick as a young man in the 1970s, and he was a loudmouth, a troublemaker, and I appreciate that a lot. He really reclaimed words that were derogatory, like faggot and queer, words that we weren't supposed to use, and made them something people were proud to use, which a lot of young people don't even realize happened now. He took those ideas into the community, And he took them around the world. He went to Cuba to see what was happening with lesbians and gays in Cuba. He was involved in organizing against the Vietnam War. He was one of the coordinators of the Seattle Counseling Service for Sexual Minorities, which was a movement space that was developed to fight for lesbian, gay, trans rights, and the ideology behind it was liberation as opposed to just counseling. It was like getting your identity and realizing that it's okay is a big part of being able to deal with the pressures in the world. So he was really critical in that, and there were a couple old buildings up on Capitol Hill that were rented out for the community center, and then a gay community center, and then the counseling service, and those became hubs for activists to organize, and Patrick was very involved in that and helping us fight, whether it's the police abuse that was happening then in our community or the government refusing to hire or people being thrown out of their work because they were queer. So he played a really essential role in helping the movement fight and defend ourselves and learn how to do that. And we also had fights within the community. There was the gay business people that were trying to water down legislation that we wanted to make sure defended trans folks, but it's like 15 years it took to get a gay rights bill in Olympia. And almost every year, the first 5 years, we had to go down and put trans rights back in the bill. And so there was a lot of internal debates and discussions in the movement that he was really important in. He helped radical women organize an educational at the University of Washington called Adam's Ribs and Other Fibs. And they took on the patriarchy, obviously. And we spent a lot of time at his house in Madrona, where I lived nearby him, planning and organizing things like a Gays and Work conference, where Blackberry came up and sang, Patrick's good friend. So we started dealing with gay oppression in the workplace and lesbian oppression and trans oppression, and had the Gays and Work conference. And then in 1978, Anita Bryant, as some of you remember her, the Florida Orange Juice spokesperson, launched a campaign to take away our rights, and won in Florida. And then that year during Gay Pride, some right-wingers came and started throwing oranges at us. So we picked them up and threw them back. And that was Patrick. Then he got involved with the Radical Fairies movement, which was out in the woods kind of thing. And I wasn't so big into that. But anyway, he organized a conference, what was it called? Faggots in the Class Struggle. So we were out at this camp, in the woods with all these faggots, holding arms and eating oatmeal and smelling the wonderful aromas of the farm animals. I don't think they hadn't quite gotten the message about having a odor-free, fragrance-free zones. And so he was involved and knee-deep in that and helping us talk and discuss what to do to get our rights, in terms of how to organize, and was important. Later, he joined the organization I'm in, the Freedom Socialist Party, and we worked together on many campaigns and labor fights. He worked at the Office of Human Rights, the Human Rights Department, and he helped make sure that there were electrical trades trainees, women and women of color that were trying to get jobs at City Light, and he was essential in getting their office to file a complaint over sex discrimination against City Light. So it was his work in cataloging and getting that together that made them come out with a statement to defend women that were apprentices that were being mistreated at City Light. Sometimes he was very acerbic, very blunt and pejorative when talking about our opponents, but on the other hand, he could be soft and supportive when among friends. we didn't always see eye to eye. He left the Freedom Socialist Party later, but continued to keep in touch and offered support when he could, including republishing the Ballad of Clara Fraser, which is the story about the whole fight at City Light for the women electrical trades trainees, and Fraser was fired. And you probably heard that song, and it mentions Megan Cornish, and she's here today, Clara's cohort that they accused of playing hanky-panky with Clara in the song. And she was one of a group of really strong women that fought, and women of color that fought for their rights at City Light. And I love that Lavender Country made a revival in a big way, and recall there was a gathering of queer activists after the reintroduction of his songs, and many of the women who had fought with us in the 70s and up through the AIDS epidemic were there, but we also noticed a lot of missing chairs. It was great to see Patrick get the recognition along with the other band members in the reissue of the song, and him becoming a nationally known figure. And I really appreciated that, and also to more recently have some correspondence with Amilcar and be able to get to know him. In closing, I just want to encourage everyone here to keep fighting and singing and creating a better world, which Patrick would want, and join forces with others to help counter the growing right-wing menace out there, as well as the capitalist nightmare. The planet's crying for relief, and one good, swift revolution is all it would take to turn around the growing crisis confronting us all. Thank you.
So more people are coming, but can I have Alana come up, please?
I'm Yolanda Alanis from Los Angeles. When I first met Patrick, picture this. It's a scene from Peter Pan, and we have Peter Pan here, and Patrick here is a fairy. And they both come in riding skates at Old Freeway Hall, where the Freedom Socialist Party first had its headquarters. So that's how I met Patrick. And I said, oh, well, if that's what gayness is about, let me join it. Which I wasn't a lesbian then, but years later I was. So anyway, I have a personal story, a note on Patrick. When he came to Los Angeles to play, his band played there, he contacted me and said, oh, come, I got free tickets for you, whatever. So me and my wife came, and another comrade came with me. And he brought me to the stage, so I just want to share a little bit of what he said about his father and our interaction about parents. I was listening to the tape outside because I just had it downloaded. I do have it if anybody wants it. So he talked about his father, who was born in 1901. He said that when you have your child, God gives you the child, and therefore you should love your child no matter what. And that's what his father believed. And he says, my father knew who I was when I was 5 years old. He helped me tie my first wig. I said that my mom never knew. We never talked about it as a Chicana with Mexican ancestors. You just don't talk about those things. But when I brought my girlfriend to the house in Eastern Washington, she always put us in the same room. I also have lost my mom. He was in his ballet outfits, and his father took him to a 4-H club meeting in full drag. That was in Port Angeles. And I told him how my mom had, this is of course many, many years ago, there was a Mexicano in Sunnyside, Washington, a farm worker who was beat up by the cops because he was gay, and a farm worker, we picked on them. And my mom stood up for him and against the police, and she rallied the community like she always did against police brutality. And because of that struggle, she was invited to Seattle Gay Pride to speak. And I was really proud of my mom for that. He said he helped his father stand up one of the last times. And Patrick read a poem to him that was written by a lesbian. I didn't get the name off the tape, sorry. But he performed it for his father, and he had said that he had performed it before at this other venue. And his father said, "Oh, did you have to wear a costume?" He says, "No." And he says, "Well, you got this. You did a really good job, even though you didn't have to wear a costume." And then he did the Ballad of Claire Fraser, which I hope you all get to listen to. And he had me introduce it, and Doug's already covered it, so I'm not going to do that. But Patrick is a longtime friend and a comrade. I cherished him, even though it was a lot of long-distance communication. I know he'll be missed, and I just wanted to come from Los Angeles because he deserves a good send-off, and I wanted to be part of that, so thank you for inviting me.
Stormy Weber.
Okay, I'm gonna cry and I'm not ashamed. It's hard to remember when I didn't know Patrick. Patrick was a friend with my mother, Pat Weber. He was friends with my grandmother, Maxine Weber. Thank you. And he was my friend for over 50 years. I met Patrick around the time I went into the world. When I was 11 years old, I left my mother. It was 1970. Went into foster care. Knew Patrick through there. And I just want to say, Patrick Marie Haggerty, how dare you? How dare you? I thought we could make an arrangement that we could all leave at the same time. I don't know if we get any do-overs, but I suspect not. I've just been thinking about, what I love about him. And for the past several months, I've been saying to myself, Weber's Anne Marie, and crying, because no one will need to call me Weber's Anne Marie anymore. I want to give my deepest condolences to his daughter, Robin, to his beloved husband, JB, to his son, Amilcar, to Robin's mother, Lois, to all the many people that love him. And if I can just share, I've been living out on Whidbey Island, and I've made an unlikely friend who is an ex-King County sheriff. We've been fast friends out there. He just texted me. I shared with him some information about Patrick, and he just texted me. He has a horse, and I'll tell you what he wrote, and then I'd like to share some work. I don't want to take up all the time, but I want to tell you what he said. His name is Greg, and he said, "I'll give Patrick a horseman's send-off on the trails today. It's a tradition when a comrade has fallen, you walk a horse with no rider in the saddle to help carry them along on their journey. I'll put my cowboy hat on the horn of my saddle for him. I hope the celebration of life goes well." That's someone who doesn't know Patrick, except from what I shared with him. So, you see, that kind of spirit, forgive me, I'm a mess, but I got reasons. That kind of spirit, and what I really treasure about him was his compassion, his extraness in what he believed in. He had an argument with an elder friend of mine, and she said, "Now he's your little bantam rooster, isn't he?" And he was. He would go to fight like he was the Hulk. If he was on your side, he would run at the brick wall and break it down with his head, And he always had such a compassion for those of us who are the strange ones in the world, for those of us who got funny ways, And he just adored JB. And what a love story to inspire everyone. And what a wonderful husband did he find. He had some great luck in his life, and we're so thankful for that. So JB had asked me to read a couple of pieces. Did you still want me to read anything, or just one? Which do you prefer, JB? I don't. Was it, you asked, I think, I know it was the Bobby King one, and then, that's the one? Okay. This is me, and this is a story that is a true story, and it actually happened at Patrick and Linda's house. And yeah, so this is called Hit and Run, and it's from my book, Blues Divine. And Patrick, you won. You're more famous than me. You're in the New York Times, so I think that the competition is over. You won. Congratulations. Hit and Run. Bobby King tried to kill me before I was born. My 18-year-old mama, big-bellied and crossing the road. Bobby behind the wheel, rolling past the famous birdland where Jimmy learned to burn. Flying high while driving. Bobby wheeling too loose, too far, too fast. Bam, knocked my poor mama through the air. Shot, crash, hit her. Though she must have tried to protect her baby. I survived 8 months and counting till my 9. She broke her arm shielding her seed. Instinct won over ambivalence. It was a knockout. Cars can still panic me till now. I don't drive and can be a nervous rider as much as I do love the road. Mama, Nana, and me were at a Ray Charles concert. Ray was his blue-black genius self. The Raelettes sang and shimmered in those skin-tight sheath dresses, and it was solistically wonderful. Mama suddenly spied Bobby King in the crowd and shamed his styling frame by saying real loud, "Stormy, that man tried to kill you." He smiled real nervous-like and slunk away with the quickness. Now, the other thing I remember was waiting backstage for a long, excited, hopeful time with my program in my little hand for Ray's autograph. A great big blustery white man looked down and said, "Whoever could be, he can't sign nothing, he's blind." I watched him scrawl Ray Charles himself and fling the program back at me. Fly forward 10 more years. I'm now 18 and a young lesbian trying to be player. I've just seduced my former caseworker and am lounging naked and brazen on her bed. Suddenly, there's frantic, desperate knocking at the door. It is one and the same Bobby King, her recent ex who dogged her out and is now begging, "Baby, please, please." Now, he never knew that the girl child he failed to annihilate with his half-ton of U.S. steel was at that very moment upstairs, busy rocking his cradle better than he could rock his cradle himself. Life sure is funny, ain't it? Maybe, unless you're Bobby King. I love you, Patrick. I love you, family.
Lois Thetford.
So I met Patrick on January 1st of 1971. I was returning from a conference on the East Coast that was put on by the Black Panther Party, and I was returning with Mary Ellen Stone and Gordon. And we got home to a house that we lived in, 6 people, $25 a month, in the Central District in Seattle. And there was, so one of our roommates was Larry Anderson, and Larry had invited people over, and they'd been partying for a couple of days there. And there was Patrick and Paul McPhail and a couple of other guys. And we come in like, "What's going on here?" But we became really close friends. And that summer, Patrick moved to Tacoma, where I was staying with the rest of the People's Trucking Company that I moved to Seattle with in 1970. And we were working at a project called the Shelter Half, which was supporting both enlisted people and also dependents from McChord Air Force Base and Fort Lewis, the Army base, and the National Guard base that was nearby. We were doing a lot of different kinds of organizing. And so through that work, Patrick met a lot of people who had not had the experience of knowing someone who was so out and so wild as he was. And so one of those people has written a letter. This letter describes for him, what it was like meeting Patrick. His name is Wayne Langley, and he lives in Boston, and we're very close still, Wayne and I. But just before I read this letter, I want to tell you this great story about during the organizing for Adam's Rib and Other Fibs. we were having a meeting at the Old Red Hen, and so there was this whole group of people, and it was quite contentious. There was so many issues, and Robin was a toddler and not talking yet, and eventually she had circled the table enough times. She comes up to the table and goes, and I was like, okay, that's what we sound like. And she was always a great reflector of what was going on. And in '72, Patrick and I went to Cuba together, and it was there that we decided that we would have Robin. And Robin and Lavender Country were both born the same year. And it was a very exciting year, I have to say. 1973 was a great year. And it's the best part of our relationship was having Robin. Although we did a lot of other stuff together. We taught classes at Antioch and did a wide variety of things. So I'm going to read this letter. Dear Lois and Robin, I have been thinking over what to write ever since I learned of Patrick's passing. I wanted to take the time and do justice to my memories of him. News of his death brought me back to my early 20s as a young GI newly arrived on the West Coast. Although I fancied myself to be quite worldly and mature at the time, in truth, it was only the second time that I'd ever been on an airplane and the farthest from home that I had ever traveled. I wasn't even old enough to legally drink. It was a confusing, exciting, and formative period of my life. Honestly, when I first met Patrick at the house on K Street in Tacoma, I was more than a bit stunned. I had some acquaintances in my past who I suspected might be gay, but Patrick was a whole order of magnitude beyond that. Just being in the same room with him made me nervous. My reaction really isn't surprising. Working class male culture, where I came from in Boston, was an unrelenting macho violence, not to mention that the military doubled down on that. Up to that point, men in my life were always preoccupied with being strong and stoic, not weak and emotional. I had never met someone as out as Patrick in my entire life. Still, as I got to know him better, Patrick went out of his way to be kind to me. And that really meant something, since I was a stranger in a strange land. I recall being desperate for something sweet to eat one day while living in the collective house in Tacoma. So he lived with two other men who were not great cooks. We were constantly running out of food and surviving on food stamps. Patrick was there and overheard me. He said, "Well, let's see what we have in the kitchen." And he promptly went and whipped up a batch of sugar cookies, virtually out of thin air. This impressed me so much, since I didn't know any men who actually cooked. I loved listening to his wild stories and his eventful life. I remember Patrick related a story to me about being picked up for hitchhiking with his partner in Montana or some god-awful place. The police saw the Cuba stamps in their passports and found issues of gay newsletters in their packs. Patrick told me in his understated dry wit. With these outback cops were so shocked that they had finally corralled a couple of real gay communists and literally didn't know what to do. And so they let them go. As I got to know Patrick better, I had many other opportunities to take his measure, and this is what I learned. Patrick was his own man, bold, unapologetic, forthright, with a razor-sharp wit and a boatload of courage. You could say of Patrick that he was better than no man, but was equal of all. The world is truly a poorer place without him. You might not want to be the target of his humor, but he was always funny. I learned from him that it wasn't weakness or unmanly for me to display emotions or to care or to be passionate. In the video interview of Patrick talking about his album Lavender Country and the story about his father who advised him never to sneak, might have been dialogue lifted from Brokeback Mountain or some other movie. There was something profoundly country about the importance of being your own man, even in the face of ridicule, fear, and hardship. I don't know what disappointments Patrick had in his life, but he carried them well. He understood that both loss and joy are our constant companions in our brief time on earth. Patrick wasn't just about endurance in tough times. He celebrated a life worth living, no matter how many rocks in the road you might encounter. Knowing him made me braver in my own beliefs and fundamentally changed me at a formative period in my personal history. There are not many people I can say that about, and I am a better man today because I knew him. Nothing can prepare you for the death of those you love. No words will erase the pain, the tragedy, the helplessness, the sheer unfairness of losing a bright spirit like Patrick. But he will live on in our memories and our stories. Know that I share your grief and am sending you my thoughts and love. Patrick Haggerty, presente.
Jack, why don't you come up and speak?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jack Grelly. I'm in town from St. Louis, and I had the privilege of collaborating with Patrick through music, and us in St. Louis, we'd like to say that we were part of the St. Louis chapter of the Lavender Country Band. As we all know, Patrick was much more than the world's writer of the first gay country album. He was a loving husband, father, grandfather, brother, uncle, and friend. He built community wherever he went, and he impacted lives in ways that we'll never be able to know. Patrick was an unapologetic queen and a diva who could hold court and argue with the best of them. His stories of his younger years, as we've heard, would often include how his big mouth got him into trouble. But Patrick was also a mentor and a wonderful listener, giving affirmations when needed and to whomever was lucky enough to have a one-on-one. His capacity to connect with people was just incredible, and the Lavender Country family is expansive. On tour, Patrick would have a merch line about 30 deep because he'd be having a one-on-one and a heart-to-heart with each person that was eager to meet him. Patrick worked many years as a social worker and as a lifelong activist, and even ran for political office as pro-gay and pro-black. He was a revolutionary in every sense of the world, of the word. From the first wave of the gay liberation movement, Patrick stayed committed to the struggle. He was a comrade that always challenged those with power, advocating for the working class and the marginalized. Lavender Country was and is an anti-fascist movement, and the message of love and solidarity is at the heart of it. That was Patrick's bottom line. With this fervor in his 70s, Patrick accepted just about every show that was sent his way and was ready to get on stage to preach his truth. On tour, Patrick and JB would stay up till 2 in the morning with the rest of us at some random person's house, just soaking up every moment. It was really incredible to see. He was a master storyteller, and Lavender Country shows were full of both tears and belly laughter. His unique sense of humor was both crass and grandmotherly, as he bragged about his bathhouse days and his proud title of being the first to be kicked out of the Peace Corps for sucking dick. Patrick was a loyal friend to many, from Aunt Patty's fatties in the kitchen to exploring the pretties on the Olympic Peninsula. Patrick knew how to enjoy life with those he surrounded himself with. He was our Aunt Patty, and his legacy will live on and pee for days. We love you, Patrick. Rest in power, comrade.
Pat Moriarty, do you want to say something before JB closes, or?
I hope I can do this. I wrote something about him a while back, and so I don't mess it up, I'm going to read it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Patrick Haggerty was one of my best friends. I met him in 1999. Lavender Country, the first openly gay country record from 1973, was being re-released that year after being archived in the Country Music Hall of Fame. And through pure luck, I was hired to design the CD cover. I never found out how my name came up, but Patrick showed up at my house in Maple Leaf, and we met for the first time. Together we dreamed up the humping cowboy hats that's on that album to add to the pre-existing lettering from the '73 record cover, which lacked art, and he wanted to put some art on there. So it was just a random freelance job, but we became friends. When my family moved to Port Orchard, he and his husband JB helped us find our house through their real estate pal. My son Jack was born in 2000, the very next year. At 3 years old, he announced that he was a musician, so Patrick taught him to sing and to play guitar starting at about age 5. Years later, Jack would become the band Lavender Country's guitar player, 50 years younger than the original members. No one seemed to care about Lavender Country in '99 when it came out the way it did in 2014 when someone posted one of their songs on YouTube. It went viral, and the label Paradise of Bachelors re-released the record, and this time on vinyl, just like the original. An award-winning documentary short followed, and Lavender Country took off again. So Jack, my son, joined the band at this time. He was probably 14 years old. Eventually, he became their manager, promoter, and driver, since everyone had bad night vision and bad tech skills. They needed a young, fresh brain to think that stuff up. Mastering Zoom was a mystery to Patrick, so Jack was the young brain they needed to relaunch the band. And then I designed their T-shirts. Eventually, another record label, Don Giovanni, released their second album, Blackberry Rose and Other Songs and Sorrows, in 2022, 49 years later after the first one. I designed that record cover. A Lavender Country ballet followed in California with Patrick singing. A screenplay about Patrick's life as a gay political activist and singer was written, and it's still in development as far as I know. A new generation of gay country acts clamored to work with Patrick. My son Jack and Patrick were usually the only band members to fly. So there was a Texas Lavender Country, a Midwest Lavender Country, a Canadian Lavender Country, a Californian Lavender Country, an East Coast version. All with musicians who learned the songs and played for Patrick. Paisley Fields, Austin Lucas, Danny Ray Clark, Andrew Saw, Trixie Mattel, Orville Peck. They all shared the stage with Patrick at some time. Patrick's legacy was finally recognized by the country music biz and public. And before 2014, Patrick was in the Peace Corps, he was in Cuba, he had kids, he was in politics. He sang old country songs at the local Kitsap nursing homes. Him and Bobby Taylor used to do that, and I'd go and see him play there too. His father accepted his gayness. He gave him permission to make that first record and always told Patrick to be proud, don't sneak. Patrick always told me he was going to do Lavender Country until he keeled over, and he was not kidding. Patrick did shows right up to his death. You can say that he died with his boots on. He suffered a stroke just as I was picking him up at the airport. Jack, JB, and Patrick were coming home from some shows in California. Medics got him off the plane into a hospital in Renton. He was there for 3 weeks. We kept hoping he'd get better, but he was partially paralyzed and unable to speak. Eventually, he was able to get me out of this hospital, and so we got him home for hospice. JB, Jack, several friends and relatives, and I took turns helping to make him comfortable and talking to him. I turned my head sideways so I could look into his eyes and say my words while he was still aware. He could not speak, but he was aware and could answer yes or no questions. Lavender Country's accordion player, Claudette, who was a nurse, got him set up with morphine and anti-anxiety meds, and he died at home after a week around loved ones. He was a touring musician, public speaker, political activist until the very end, a real diehard, a screaming Marxist bitch, as he often called himself on stage, until the end. He was a mentor to so many people in the next generation. I'll never forget my friend and what he did for me and my family and the world.
And we're going to close with JB, his loving partner, and I've known JB since I think I was 12. He's been in our family, and I've been in his family. So it's one of the longest marriages I've known in my life. It's something special. So JB.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, here we are. All of you had different relationships with Patrick. I'm going to skip to the end. The relationship that I want y'all to know about is him helping me through a very difficult situation about 3 weeks ago. He died in October, Halloween. Okay. I thought I was really sort of getting better, falling back, getting worse, getting better, getting worse. I was going to the bank, and I was walking across the parking lot, And this woman came out of the bank, and she said, yeah, waving. And so I turned around to see who she was waving at. And when I turned back around, she was like 10 feet in front of me. And she said, you don't know me, but I've been seeing you and Patrick walking around downtown Bremerton for quite a while, and I never knew who you were. She said that she was taking her daughter to the ferry, and her daughter said, do you know who that guy is? That's Patrick Haggerty. It just so happens her daughter had come out to her, or I'm sorry, she was her granddaughter, and the grandmother was the only one that the young woman felt that she could come out to. So she says, do you realize you live in the same town as Patrick Haggerty? And so I was at the phase of, I thought I was getting better, but she went on and on and on. And after a while, I didn't hear what she was saying because the tears were coming. She said, we listened to Patrick's album. Grandma, don't you remember? That's the guy that wrote this song. And the grandmom said, yes, thank you for sharing this with me. And then she touched my elbow, and it just sent me flying. Whenever I got excited about something, Patrick would try to calm me down. He would touch my elbow. And it just, like I said, it just sent me off. And by the time I got to, from the parking lot to the teller, I was walking on cloud. Because during that walk, Patrick said, don't you realize that woman is just trying to honor you? And by her trying to honor you here allows me to honor her there. And I said, oh, this is too weird. You know, really. So that's what I want to leave you with. All y'all coming here honoring Patrick here is allowing him to honor you all where he is. Thank you.
I believe we're going to close with some music, but I wasn't sure if Jack wanted to begin the music and we finish with the band.
JB had asked me to sing this song because he said he wanted something political. And this is a song I wrote that it's not about Patrick. I wrote this years ago, but through Patrick's friendship and his relentless advocacy for class consciousness is what this song is about. Raise it up a little bit. Check, check, check. Hey, hey. How's that? Hello. All right. Hey, there we go. Thank you, thank you. All right. So yeah, like I said, this is a song that Patrick inspired me to write through his relentless advocacy of class consciousness. As a child you'd sleep to a bed, sometimes 3, Now you got spare bedrooms, luxuries that you don't need. And remember your dad's union card made sure the kids had enough to eat. And when your mom worked nights, she was humming to herself quietly. You got your first job painting houses with your uncle when you were 15. Ain't it nice when you know someone that'll give you an opportunity? And it helped you get through college, and no one's trying to take that away. And now you live in one of those houses that you used to paint. 'Cause it don't mean that it's working for everyone just because it worked for you. You said where you came from ain't worth going back to. Then is it working for everyone just because it worked for you? So in that house where you used to sleep, rusty lead pipes, a roof that leaks over the heads of a new family that don't look like you's no concern of what they need. 'Cause all the work left when the old generation moved away, and that empty union hall sure could use a fresh coat of paint. 'Cause it don't mean that it's working for everyone just because it worked for you. You said where you came from ain't worth going back to. Then is it working for everyone just because it worked for you? Love you, Patrick.
Why, thank you. Thank you. Before I play, I'd like to tell you a little bit my relationship with Patrick. I moved here from Nashville, and we were talking about Nashville, and he had told me about the album, and that's how we met. And we got together to play a few times, and the first few times it was like a train wreck. It was. But I was from Nashville, and I was doing the blues and stuff, and I had a familiarity with country. I loved country. So we played and rehearsed for a while until we got good enough to play at assisted living places and retirement homes. And we did that for 15 years. We were up and down the road and throughout Puget Sound, going to these places where less fortunate people lived. And I'd like to tell you, that was the most important music that I've ever done. because the people there really appreciated it, and it touched them, and we reached out and touched some people. And I want to thank Patrick for that. Yeah. So here's one of his favorite songs, my favorite songs, and JB asked me to play it, and I'll honor that. It's called Danny Boy. Oh, come on now. Whoa, I'm sorry. Yeah. It ain't working. It ain't working. I really apologize about that. Thank you.
Please enjoy each other's company, and I believe we're going to have some more music, and there's food.
I wanted to do Red Dress with Joyce.
That was awesome.
That was great. That was
your best one yet.
Good job, Jack.
No, next time. Next time I have to give you a couple of breathing lessons so you don't run out of breath. That's what's going on when you get so quiet you can't hear.
Well, you did it in beat. You did it in rhythm to the music pretty well and everything.
His rhythm is fabulous.
Okay,
Did you
that's your
notice
lesson
on the
today.
Intro?
Huh?
On the intro, how
Yeah.
he comes in right on the beat.
Yeah, he
I didn't
does.
have to teach him a thing on that. He knew.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Paisley, and I'm really sorry I can't be there today. I want to send all my love to JB and to all of you in the Lavender Country family, everybody who's friends with Patrick and Patrick's family, and yeah, I really wish I could be there. I'm wearing my necklace that I got from Robert. We all got these when we did the ballet. I have a lot of memories I could share right now, but I'm gonna just try to keep it short and just share one memory and play a song. So on the last tour that I did with Patrick, we did this thing called the Roundup Tour, and I would get my little anxieties and worries before shows or whatever, and we were in Philadelphia, and it was a sold-out show. There were lots of people there, and we're about ready to go on stage, and I started feeling anxious, and I went up to Patrick, and I said, you know, I'm starting to have a panic attack, and he held my hand and held my head and said, I love you, darling, but not now. And it kind of like snapped me out of it and just made me feel better. And he always knew the right thing to say. He was one of those people I could always just call whenever I needed to talk. And so I miss him a lot. And I just feel very lucky to have gotten to know him and to call him a friend. So I'm going to do this song now for JB and for all of you. This is a Lavender Country song that really means a lot to me. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Paisley, and I'm really sorry I can't be there today. I want to send all my love to JB and to all of you in the Lavender Country family, everybody who's friends with Patrick and Patrick's family, and yeah, I really wish I could be there. I'm wearing my necklace that I got from Robert. We all got these when we did the ballet. I have a lot of memories I could share right now, but I'm gonna just try to keep it short and just share one memory and play a song. So on the last tour that I did with Patrick, we did this thing called the Roundup Tour, and I would get my little anxieties and worries before shows or whatever, and we were in Philadelphia, and it was a sold-out show. There were lots of people there, and we're about ready to go on stage, and I started feeling anxious, and I went up to Patrick, and I said, you know, I'm starting to have a panic attack, and he held my hand and held my head and said, I love you, darling, but not now. And it kind of like snapped me out of it and just made me feel better. And he always knew the right thing to say.
he was one of those people I could always just call whenever I needed to talk, and so I miss him a lot, and I just feel very lucky to have gotten to know him and to call him a friend. So I'm going to do this song now for JB and for all of you. This is a Lavender Country song that really means a lot to me. I see you stepping high with your tight blue jeans on, strutting like a button-down paragon. I reckon you're looking for some necking, yes, it's true. Climb right on up into my manger, but let me warn you about one small danger, babe. I can't shake the stranger out of you. Prancing, preening, smooth as you can. You're hotter than the popcorn dancing in the pan. Out to capture a chunk of rapture with someone new. I can hit the sack like an aristocrat if you're looking for a trick in a box of Cracker Jacks. But I can't shake the stranger out of you. You're up in Bronco, I must admit, stomping while your lips are chomping at a bit. Sure, I'll kiss you, but who's gonna miss you when you're chasing midnights through? Be glad to be your one-shot pleasure, even leave you grieving at your leisure, babe. But I can't shake the stranger out of you. So you're hot to try for the next buckaroo. Who's got the stuff to put the saddle on you and ride you higher on the fires of desire than you ever knew? All your favorite fantasies have come to an end. You'll be waking up tomorrow needing a friend. But I can't shake the stranger out of you. Oh, I can't shake the stranger out of you. I can't shake the stranger out of you. Thank you all. Miss you, love you. Sending all my love to everybody, so thank you. Good night.
told you lately that I love you. Let me tell you once again somehow how I told you lately that I love you. Well, darling, I'm telling you now.
Had guts to go cruising the rednecks on a sorry night. Damn God Rosie never fought. Sure too bad that he forgot. Stomping clears is their God-given right. We were pissed off when they stabbed you. Pissed off when they grabbed you. Beat him quick with the billy stick and they told him to behave. The doctors and nurses slapped and jabbed him. The morgue men slapped and tapped him. Now he's dead, there ain't nothing left to say. But his ghost is crying from an angry grave. Let's not just talk about revolution, revolution, don't advance. Keep down for now, up and down, there's just no end.
That was awesome.
That was great. That was your best one yet.
Good job, Jack.
No, next time I have to give you a couple of breathing lessons so you don't run out of breath. That's what's going on when you get so quiet you can't hear.
Well, you did it in beat. You did it in rhythm to the music pretty well and everything.
His rhythm is fabulous.
Okay, that's your lesson today.
Intro?
Huh?
On the intro, how he comes in right on the beat.
Yeah, he does.
I didn't have to teach him a thing on that. He knew.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Paisley, and I'm really sorry I can't be there today. I want to send all my love to JB and to all of you in the Lavender Country family, everybody who's friends with Patrick and Patrick's family, and yeah, I really wish I could be there. I'm wearing my necklace that I got from Robert. We all got these when we did the ballet. I have a lot of memories I could share right now, but I'm gonna just try to keep it short and just share one memory and play a song. So on the last tour that I did with Patrick, we did this thing called the Roundup Tour, and I would get my little anxieties and worries before shows or whatever, and we were in Philadelphia, and it was a sold-out show. There were lots of people there, and we're about ready to go on stage, and I started feeling anxious, and I went up to Patrick and I said, you know, I'm starting to have a panic attack, and he held my hand and held my head and said, I love you, darling, but not now. And it kind of like snapped me out of it and just made me feel better. And he always knew the right thing to say. He was one of those people I could always just call whenever I needed to talk. And so I miss him a lot. And I just feel very lucky to have gotten to know him and to call him a friend. So I'm going to do this song now for JB and for all of you. This is a Lavender Country song that really means a lot to me. I see you stepping high with your tight blue jeans on, strutting like a button-down paragon. I reckon you're looking for some necking, yes, it's true. Climb right on up into my manger, but let me warn you about one small danger, babe. I can't shake the stranger out of you. Prancing, preening, smooth as you can. You're hotter than the popcorn dancing in the pan. Out to capture a chunk of rapture with someone new. I can hit the sack like an aristocrat if you're looking for a trick in a box of Cracker Jacks. But I can't shake the stranger out of you. You're up in Bronco, I must admit, stomping while your lips are chomping at a bit. Sure, I'll kiss you, but who's gonna miss you when you're chasing midnights through?
And this mic plays the fiddle.
Yeah, I'm wearing your suit. Yes.
I don't have a lead on.
Hello.
You don't play fiddle? I don't lead on screen. Don't worry about it. You need a vocal line, Bobby.
Do you want to do Stranger right now?
You're on the piano. Get on. One, two. 1, 2. Huh? I need the lyrics pulled up.
What we doing first? Stranger, right?
No, Lavender Country.
Jack, give me a second. Okay. Go on.
Who's singing the lead on it?
Huh?
Who's singing the lead on it?
If you put up the words, I'll sing the lead.
Tell Bobby to give me a second.
Lavender Country.
Bobby, just wait a minute.
Huh?
She got to change accordions. So what mic should I be on? Okay. All right, now we're good. Now we're all right. Right now, 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think I can see that. I got my glasses on. Okay, when you guys are ready, count it off. There's nothing left but holes in your weary sexist clothes. Tell all the goodwill for a goodwill negligee. You all come out, my dears, to liven the country. You all come out and make yourselves at home. It don't matter here who you love or what you wear. We don't care who's got what chromosome. To those little coons, spit out them silver spoons. Give yourself some silver tunes and a pair of water balloons. So you all come out, my dears, to liven the country. Don't you worry about your sissy ways. When you wear your Philly blouse to the people's outhouse, folks will turn around and pee for days. Oh, so come out, my dears, to liven the country. You all come out and make yourself at home. 'Cause it don't matter here who you love or what you wear. 'Cause you don't care who's got what chromosome. Listen up, all pushy women. Listen up, all pushy women who like unions and sit-down strikes. They'll ask the Lord to take a hike. Join the dykes on bikes. Roll your hog at 69 to liven the country. That's where pushy women wanna be. That's where every Sue and Hannah arrives at queer Nirvana. 'Cause the lesbians under every bush and tree. Oh, you all come out, my dears, to liven the country. Y'all come out and make yourself at home. 'Cause it don't matter here who you love or what you wear. We don't care who's got what chromosome. Come on, Jack. Listen up, all pushy women who like unions and sit-down strikes. They'll ask the Lord to take a hike. Join the dykes on bikes. Pull your hog at 69 to liven the country. That's where pushy women wanna be. That's where every Sue and Hannah arrives in queer Nirvana. 'Cause the lesbians under every bush and tree. Well, y'all come out, my dears, to liven the country. Y'all come out and make yourself at home. Well, it don't matter here who you love or what you wear. We don't care who's got come on, Hammer. Chromosome. Hammerstrom, the original piano player. So you all come out, my dears, to liven the country. You all come out and make yourself at home. 'Cause it don't matter here who you love or what you wear. We don't care who's got what chromosome. So you all come out, my dears, to lavender country. Y'all come out now. You gotta.
Yeah, that was good. That you good. Can you break them up bigger? But I need them.
Testing 1 2 check check. Testing 1 2 check check. Okay. Joyce needs a mic.
Dress, purple dress, green dress, yellow dresses, orange dresses, any kind of dresses. A, yeah. Oh, no, right here, right where my, yeah, right there. No, just as long as last night. Okay, all right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Last night I walked and pleaded for a candlelight with you. Walked the floor till midnight, sighed till 2:30. Then you came in with your flimsy grin and a flimsier excuse. And your shirt just reeking cheap perfume and stale vermouth. No, I don't like being treated like a ragged hand-me-down. I'm gonna get me a new red dress, go out and paint the town. Get out on the dance floor, strut these curves around. We'll just see who thinks that I'm a ragged hand-me-down. Lately when you look at me, you see in the Trinity. Your mama, the Irish washerwoman, and a whore from Gay Paris. But I'm from Enid, Oklahoma, and my name is not Marie. I don't like the aroma of your third-hand ecstasy. No. I don't like being treated like a ragged hand-me-down. I'm gonna get me a new red dress, go out and paint the town. Hemline split high on the thigh, lots of cleavage bouncing round. And we'll just see who thinks that I'm a ragged hand-me-down. I don't like being treated like a ragged hand-me-down. I'm gonna get me a new red dress, go out and paint the town. I just got one life to live, then it's 6 feet underground. And I don't think that I want to live it as a ragged hand-me-down. That's it. Hit your hot stuff and your pickup truck down the first shoulder dash. Take your hot stuff in your pickup truck and down and go pay cash. I ain't the socket for your rocket, babe. I ain't your playtime clown. I don't like being treated like your ragged hand-me-down. I don't like being treated like your ragged hand-me-down. I'm gonna get me a new red dress, go out and paint the town. I just got one life to live, then it's 6 feet underground. And I'm gonna go out and live it as a ragged hand-me-down. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick wrote that for someone that he knew very close to him going through a divorce, and he just was giving her all kinds of support and wrote this song for her. He was an amazing, supportive man for women, for me. I wouldn't be singing if it wasn't for him. I got to tell him that, that's for sure. Love you, Patrick.
Harmonies. Backups. Yeah.
All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Oh, the bell's on, baby. Huh? Oh yeah. Downstairs from. Could you please? Yeah, he does.
That's 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. Yep. It took me a while to get back up on my feet again. First my mom, then Patrick, and then my dearest cousin that I can't remember a time when she wasn't like, and it just like laid me down, man. Just laid me down.
Count it off.
But Patrick said,
Everybody ready? 1 2 1 2 3 and
get off your ass and sing.
I see you stepping high in your blue jeans on, strutting like a dragon down Paragon. I reckon you're looking for some necking. Yes, I do. Climbing all up into my manger, but let me warn you about one small danger there. I can't chase the stranger out of you. See you prancing as smooth as you can, hotter than a popcorn dancing in the pram. Out to capture a hunk of a rapture of someone new. Well, I can hit the just act like an aristocrat. If you let me be your trick in a box of crack jack. I can't chase the stranger out of you. The next buckaroo who's got the stuff to put a saddle on you and run you higher on the fires of desire than you ever knew. All the secret fantasies have come to an end. We'll be waking up tomorrow deep friend. 'Cause I can't chase the stranger out of you. I can't chase the stranger out of you. No, I can't chase the stranger out of you. Gay Bar Blues. And don't sing with me. Gay Bar Blues. I think it's E, isn't it?
It's still an E.
All right, you guys, I'm going to sing one of my favorite songs of Patrick's. It's about having a safe place where you can authentically be yourself, having a safe place where others of like mind gather, and having a place where maybe you'll find love. Who knows? It can happen. Gay Bar Blues.
Yes.
Slither down the street, find the plain gray door, stop before the mirror, I check my hair before I slide into that empty stool to cruise the chick who's shooting pool. She probably thinks that I'm a fool. Blue, trying to keep my composure when I get the cold shoulder. I've got the gay bar blues.
I got the blues, I got
These gay bar blues. Yeah. They put the skids on me.
They put the skids.
Oh no. Hey, when's my sugar baby gonna set me free?
Set me free, set me free, set me free.
If she don't come soon, I bet I'll die from smoking cigarettes on Spokane Avenue.
Avenue, Avenue.
I'm going home without nobody. I got the gay bar blues. I tried going straight. I dug up all the moolah. Went home to Missoula. Dated Susie Q from high school. Last time I asked her, I had to get plastered. It ended in disaster. Blue. If I don't get the chick
I'm gonna drown in wine coolers. I got the gay bar blues. Oh, come on now. Come on. If I could ever find a half a decent friend, I'd never have to creep into this sleazy bar again. I'd never have to worry if police or jerks I work with are spying on the plain gray door. I'm going home without nobody. I got the gay bar blues. I got the blues, I got the blues. Take another ride, folks. Yeah. Hey. Oh, come on over here. Let me talk to you, baby. If I could ever find a half a decent friend, I'd never have to sneak into this sleazy bar again. I'd never have to worry if police or jerks I work with are spying on the plain gray door. Everybody in this place is smiling, but we've all dying inside blue. Dying inside. Let me tell you. Everybody in this place is smiling, but we're all dying inside blue. 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 I love that man.
You have to.
Trilogy and out. Maxine, join us. We need JB. We need JB. JB. And JB needs dance partners. Come on, JB, he's calling you. What was his pet name for JB? What did he call him? Come on, baby doll. I love the way you do red dress.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Tonight.
Oh, you serious?
Oh, really? Oh. Well,
You're gonna
I'm glad you
dance.
made it. One thing that makes me sad is thinking that we won't be getting together again because Patrick was like the magnet, you know?
Don't say that. Let's make that happen.
Let's do. Okay.
The last song. Yeah.
So are we going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the last song we're going to do. There's a lot more music happening at the Charleston tonight. So if you're still in town at 8 o'clock, we're at the Charleston on Callow. Who's Your Mama, Lolo and Friends, Misery Whip, and another big old open mic for anybody who's interested.
Woohoo!
Waltzing well was soft and sweet. The way he waltzed was to a feat. For a psychiatrist to think was fitting. So they said, hey son, we think you should sneak you a slug of raw manhood in the state hospital. Just the place to get one. Now they call him a queer sickie. They heard him to group therapy. Locked him up at night so he don't escape. And if they hear any gay talk, a sizzle of electroshock keeps his fantasies in fashion show. They call it mental hygiene, but I call it psychic rape. No, he won't get no restitution.
No restitution.
Till we're dealing with the facts.
That's a fact.
That all the mental institutions are backed by a pack of straight white honky quacks. They're backed by a pack of straight white honky quacks. Old Jim Jones and Tommy T were lovers to the nth degree. They had their thing together pretty good. But Tom was only 17 when his folks found out what was happening. Mama cried and Pa demanded blood. When the news began to fester that Jim was a child molester, what jury's gonna stand for that disease? Well, they put him in the pen. They called him Faggot Jim. How ironic that his bust was sodomy. Cause the prison guards use him to get their rocks off when they plead. Let's not depend on an election.
On revolution.
You set him loose from that bull rap. In a good dose of insurrection. We can wipe that claptrap jailhouse off the map. We can wipe that claptrap jailhouse off the map. Here we do it. Let's not depend on an election.
On revolution.
Set him loose.
Tell the truth.
From that blow rap.
That's a fact.
The good dose of insurrection.
On insurrection.
We can wipe that claptrap jailhouse off the map. We can clap that claptrap jailhouse off the map. Let's not this time.
Not pretend.
About revolution.
On revolution.
Don't avenge me pound for pound.
Pound for pound.
There's just no end.
Just no end.
To the pollution.
To revolution.
Rise up and rip this goddamn system down. 'Cause there ain't no hope till it tumbles to the ground. Long live Patrick Haggerty, Lavender Country.
Patrick Haggerty.
Hello, hello. Before I go, I just want to pay tribute to my friend Pat. I didn't get a chance to earlier. And I'm going to be brief, but the minute I knew when I was in Lavender Country, I remember we were in L.A., and we ended up, me, JB, and Patrick had to share the same bed together, right? So as we're going to sleep, and Patrick with his humor, I'm thinking, 3 blind mice, 3 blind mice. And Patrick looks at me with a serious face and he says, "That's the wrong song to sing." And I said, "Why?" He says, "Because only one of you guys will be chasing the farmer's wife." And that was Patrick's humor, and he made a joke out of it. He was just so lyrical, and he had a fast brain. He could just think of anything on the spot. And I just want to say it was a pleasure working with him. And I'm so happy to see all his friends and family coming down to say their goodbyes. Thank you guys for coming down.
Okay, I got to say something now. I first met Patrick in 1972, and I'm sitting on my porch. I'd just gotten out of the military, and I'd taken a job with this Seattle Public School District and bought this house, big yellow thing on with the wind blew through all the windows in the winter, and it was right around the corner from the Gay Community Center. I didn't know this at the time. So I was sitting on the porch one afternoon, I think it was probably in May or June, early June, and the sun was out and it was a beautiful warm day, somewhere probably between 11 and 1. And I'm just sitting on the porch, just kind of staring at that spotted owl that lived up on the church that was right across the street from my porch. And the 15th Avenue was here, and the Gay Community Center was right there. And being in San Francisco for 4 years, I danced with the San Francisco Ballet Company and hung out with guitars and in the Hippie Hill and all the stuff in the park. And I was looking for a guitar player to play with. And I was just sitting there, and here comes this little guy with long hair with this raggedy old guitar case, just kind of stomping down the sidewalk like this, and I'm, aha, there he is. And so I invited Patrick up on the porch, and he opens his guitar case and pulls out these bunch of loose papers with these scribbles of lyrics written all over them. And I'm going, yeah, this guy's right on target. And so I'm sitting there, you know, and he was just polite and honest and just a warm human being. And I got the first impression that he was bold, he was serious, he was humorous, he was smart, he was intelligent, and he was honest. But bold really hit me, his personality. And he pulls this lyric out, and he's playing his guitar, and he goes along and says, "I'm crying these cock-sucking tears." And I'm going, yeah, okay, this boy is bold. So for the next year, we got together a lot and practiced the original Lavender Country tunes. And we were able to, thanks to the community service, it was Waltzing Will, I think, traded his food stamps in to generate the money so we could record the first album, which we did at my friend's studio, Jim Wolf's studio on Pike Street. It was called Music Farm or Have the Nice Day Studio there. And the engineer was Mark Sterling. And I remember we went in in the night shift. We recorded all at night. And it went on, I don't know, I can't remember, it's a long time ago, but it was a real pleasure working with Patrick. You know, one thing I noticed right off the bat, you know, when we started working on my favorite tune, of course, is Stranger, Can't Shake the Stranger Out of You. I noticed that Patrick really had a gift for writing poetry, lyric writing. I mean, it's an art to writing lyrics. A very serious art form. Lyric writing versus poetry are two different things. Now, Patrick had it, man. He had the metaphors. He had it was just a pleasure working with him. And I got to say, and then in 2014, I kind of lost track of Patrick and went on my journey, and he went on his journey. In about 2014, I think it was just about the time I retired from the state of Washington employment, I get a call, and it's Patrick, and saying, "Hey, Robert, I've got a gig down in Seattle around the floating bridge there. Why don't you bring your guitar and come on down and sit in with us?" So I did. I said, "Well, I haven't played these songs in years." Hammer, I know you won't forget nothing. You'll know just what to do. So I do. I decide to go down there. I go down and I walk into this club. It's a club kind of like about the size of this room, and then another off room where the entryway is. And I walk in. It's full of people, and I'm carrying this guitar case and I'm walking around. Well, I'm not going to confess that I'm getting old, but I dye my hair. and so I'm walking around there. I'm just standing there, and the band's kind of set up, and then I notice this guy walking around me, just kind of circling me, just kind of staring at me like this. and I realize it's Patrick. And so we haven't seen each other for many years. And he couldn't understand. He said, "I can't understand why you haven't changed." I says, "Well, it's dark in here." So anyway, and that started off a venture, and we started touring and doing some shows again, and then he'd just gotten released with Paradise of Bachelors record company in North Carolina with the very first album and everything. So we did a number of tours for about 5 or 6 years, and I met Bobby here and Lolo and Jack and all these people, these fine musicians. And I got to say, Patrick, I miss you.
You met, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, there is a after-party event at the Charleston Theater in Bremerton. Starting at 8 o'clock, Lavender Country will be performing along with a lot of other groups. I will be emceeing the show, so if you have time, come down. You'll hear some great music, great fun, and great times. Thank you.